はい、どうも皆さん、こんにちは。今回このフィンチ家の奇妙な屋敷で起きたことっていうタイトルのゲームやっていくぞ。このゲームは概要欄にも書いてあるけど、あれかな、なんかフェンチ家っていう一族に主人公がおって、その一族の最後の生き残りになってんけど、なんで他の人らが死んだんかを謎探りに行くゲームかな。何これ。
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning with the house.
あ、もう書いてある。家のとこから。あ、ズームできる。
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the
11
rooms.
歳の時。あ、いいね、これ。文章が背景と一緒に同化されとる感じになってる。
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
請求書。
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral. In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
鍵。ああ。どこ開けるかわからん。
Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
下も行けるやん。下行こう。下行ってみよう。下が正解のパターンちゃうん、どうせこれ。違うかな。いろんなとこ行ける、もしかして。いや。
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent.
敵おる。
As if they're about to say something but never do.
ちなみにこれストーリー重視やから、そんななんか敵バンバン出てくるとかそんなんじゃないから。
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
いや、あの辺の家の建て方はやばない。増築重ねすぎて。
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
これどうせ正面玄関あかんパターンやろ。多分。あ、鍵。ここに使うんかい。
I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
甘かったな。え。
Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
ってことは恨みに。大体こういうゲームって恨み自家されんやんだ。これ開く？さらに裏か。ここやな。猫が入る場所。
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I
犬
was
用やったし。
11.
猫じゃなかったわ。
The power had been turned off the night we left. first time in years, I felt like I was home.
ほうほう。めちゃくちゃ生
The
活感あ
table
る
was still a wreck from the night we left.
な。あ
It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
ー、みんな殺されたけど、殺されたんか。
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house after it sank.
ほう。え、すごいテーブル。絶対使いにくいわ。しかもこれ見て。足のところ本で重ねて立ててある。
Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
ああ、はい、ああ、なんかある。
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house.
これ、いや、本散らかってすぎや。片付けろよ、これ。
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
覗き穴を開けた。あ、こんなかわかりやすいな。
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
7年間死んだ兄と一緒に過ごしたのやばない。1950から1961って書いてある。
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
トイレにこんなふかふかのクッションみたい置くか開かへんのこれ。扉は開かんねやな。封印ってこれあれか。なんか溶かして溶接みたいにしちゃうのか。あ、全部の扉閉まっとるんや。なんかこういうコンセントでたどりたくなるよな。ああ。
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
へえ。
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
あと言ってないな、ここだけ。おや？
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room.
めっちゃええ部屋
I
や。
think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
これかい。
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
何これ。これごと開くの？
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
いや、こういう部屋いいよ
From the
な。
paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
こういうなんか秘密基地みたいな部
Reading
屋
this,
憧れるよ
maybe
な。
it
子
sounds
供や
like
か
I
ら。
had a plan, but I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
ね、研究しとったのか。
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna
ち
happen.
っちゃい子が書いたとは思え
It
やんぐらい
started
字
when
綺麗
Mom
や。
sent me to bed without dinner.
まるでフ
I
ォン
woke
ト
up
のよう
and
や
I
で。
was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
ネズミの餌。
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
え？ 食べんのもう子供やからな。何でも食べるよな。ネズミでも食べるわな。
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
もう寝ろ。生命で高。こ
I
いつは
kept
ちっちゃいんか。
eating and eating.
食べたらあかんでやろそれ。まあいっか。多分チョコレートやわ。全部食べたで。やばないこの人。食べたの。これも
I ate a lot of things that night.
いやー、ちょっと、でも美味しそうやな。美味しそうやな、おい。これ飲もうぜ。喉乾いてやろ。これ飲もうぜ。ってことは
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly,
え
I was a cat.
なんで夢の中かな。子供によくある。出ていくのこれ。こうか。
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
お前を絶対食べるぞ俺は。待て。
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
出ていくのこれ。猫こんな運動神経いい？死ねー！鳥めっちゃ逃げるよ。
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired.
どこいた鳥？あ、おった。いや、高い高い場所。
Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird.
よし。
I gobbled her up,
あ、
and suddenly I was an owl. First, all I heard
Eh?
was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
いい夢見とるな子供。俺なんて空飛ぶ夢じゃって落ちる夢しか見やへんぞ。
Rabbits.
なんかいる。あ、ウサギ。ざまあみろ。
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
大きいものを探しに。
A mama rabbit.
お母さんのウサギなんだそれ。死ねーイエーイ。
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating.
食べ続けた。そんな一口に食べれると。
And suddenly, I was a shark.
完璧な夢やなこれ。死ぬ。そういう感じなん。ちょっと動けへんやん。よし。そういう感じの。これ俺が落ちる夢こんな感じやわ。
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
なん
I
かおる。
wanted fat, juicy seal.
アシカ死ね
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
とっても美味しかった。あれか。もう逃がさんぞ。
I grabbed on tight, but I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water.
え
When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
次何になっとるこれ。なんだこれ。これ何になっとんねや俺今。タコかなこれ。これタコっぽい
Now I
な。
was a monster, and I
あ、
smelled
怪物に
people
なったん。
everywhere.
ああ、人間食べるよな。いいね。そう、こういうのを待っとったんや俺は。人間どこかな。人間どこかな。人間どこなの。人間どこ人間どこなの。音楽の方行けばいいかな。音楽はどこかなとかわからん。違うな。これ後ろやな。こっちこっちこっち。やっぱこっちやぞ。うん、やっぱりこっち。明かりの方行けばいいんだ。明かりの方。ああ、多分こっちや。これ階段の上あれやんこれ。
I was big,
あ、おるおるおるおる。
real quiet.
絶対美味しいわ。一口で食べるの？モンスターパニック映画
I
や。
wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
進めないよ。自分の体をうまく扱えないよ俺。あいつか。こっちから行くのか。いや違うな。あ、出ていくね。反対かな。あー、こっちかこっちか。なんも見えん。なんも、あ、来た来た。自分の触手をうまく扱えないよし。反対側からこっちから行くか。あ、いたいたいた。
After the last passenger, I was still hungry. Across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
ほうほう。まだ行くんかい。
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
こっちにいい匂いがするの？いいな、こんな夢見てみたいな俺。俺もこういう楽しそうな夢がいいな。こんな人を襲っとる感じの。あれ？この部屋は。
I got closer and closer.
あれこの部屋自分の部屋や。
All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to be.
字きれい。
Both know. Might be delicious.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
モーリ
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
こっちか。あ、猫おるやん。どっか行ったわ。ここから行けるの？ああ。
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but
なるほ
mom
ど。
didn't
扉
like
閉まっと
bringing
るけど、
up
裏
the
こ
past.
っちから行けるってことか。
Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
これは
I
お
spent
母
a
さんの
lot
部
of
屋。
time in Great Grandma Edie's room.
何これガスバーナー違うかガスバーナーではないなこれどう考えても。
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
ほうほう。こっち行くんかな。
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my
いや
mother.
この床何これ。いやモフモフ便器にさこういうモフモフつける人おるよな。俺嫌いやわ。風呂狭汚な。
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom.
ピンクのバス。
It
いや
was a
これ
pretty
床
big
びちゃびちゃになってもうめっちゃえらいことにならへんかこれ。あどこ行くのこれ。あこれか。
There's a secret in this bathroom.
ほうほ
It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
う。お鍵があるやん。ほうほうほう。
Sven gave Sam an old
写真。
camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
写真作る場所やなこれフィルム。赤ライトとか当てて。狭っ。ようこんな部屋のことだな。
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
ねこれ。
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
みんなの記憶をたどっていくんやな。 あ足骨折しとる。
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
ほうほう。いや、この
Calvin, dinner's ready. Coming.
ご飯やっ
But
て。
that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
え、ここのブランコは危な。このまま飛んだら崖落ちるぞ。なんかそのパターンこれそのパターンかな。
I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
いや、やるよな、一回転やろうとする人おるおる。大怪我するからな。
Calvin, I'm not gonna tell you again.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up,
いや、やばいぞこれ。
He'd still
ああ、
be-
もうやばいな。
but I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind.
やばいやばいやばい。
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
あ、もう次ぐらいになるやろこれ。これもうやばいやろ。おお。危な。
The day he made up his mind to fly, and he did.
飛びすぎやろ。なんてアホな死に方なんて。
Calvin's story felt strangely
こいつは
familiar.
自殺と。
When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
マジ吉やん。
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
立ち入り禁止にした。あ、やでこれ柵がかかっとったやな、こっち側。帰るときは
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
ほうほう。おや。なにこれ。あら、またなんかあるやん。からくりありすぎじゃないこの部屋。最高やん。抜け道まみれ。
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
こっちはなんなん。どっちでもいけんのかな。
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
子役スターなんこの家族すげえやん。
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
ほうほう。ねこれ。
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream.
悲鳴で
Now
知られ
at
とったん。
16, she was all washed up. A has-been.
はあはあは
But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
あ。いや、ひどすぎや
Getting
ろ。
better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room.
ガチモンに怪我しとる時か
Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your
漫
delivery
画や
on
完
that.
全に
Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding
さらに巻く
until
と
finally the key pops out.
え
Thanks.
あのオルゴールか
I'll
タイ
be
ヤの
back
とこ
in
に
a
あった
sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house
あんで地下
was
室に行くんや
silent.
おーオッケーオッケーえこれ操作すんの何これ面白い漫画の中操作できんのこれ
She found Rick's
視野角が
and imagined the worst.
10ぐらいしかあらへんあー広なった戦えるなんかおんのかこれ
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
こっちかなあっちっぽいな
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
あらまあ
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up. But if
なんだ
this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
またやんのとりあえずグラス割っとけよし上やろ
Walter had vanished,
Oh.
but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
あれ
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
なんやこいつ
And really was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Ah,
Okay,
ここにいるのか
Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part.
戦う武器がそれ殺しに行こう殺しに行こう殺しに行こ
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges grow.
う何しろあいつああはあああああ
wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
とどめの一撃ボコボコにしよう。いないし。
Had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was.
こんにちは。誰だ？
At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
あら。え、人めっちゃおるやん。
Oh dear.
Surprise! めっちゃ鬱陶しいやん。
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time.
ベッドの下おったん
It
かこ
all
いつ。
pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear.
え
Now that's what
一応敵はおったん
a
か。
real eerie tale.
うんこのキャラ俺みたい。バーバラは
Edie told me
自
all
殺
Barbara
と。
wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that
今んとこ
comic
全員
was.
自殺やな。
Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
次ここ行ってこっちの部屋のもう片方にあったな。
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
こうか。あ、それオルゴール行かなあかん。オルゴールぐるぐる回しまくって地下室。オルゴールどこだ？玄関、あ、これか。はいはい。回しまくってさらに回して結構よしいいやん。ほうほう面白いね。地下作業場か。
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
地下室に作業場、工
I
具
saw
場所
Edie
みたい
sneak
な。
down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
あれ開かない。あ、
It turned out she was
冷
hiding
蔵
a
庫
lot
じゃね
more
えし。
than that.
暗いよ。
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could. If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
あ、あった。
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week.
1968年。あ、缶切りや。
But after a few days, I settled into a routine.
こうか。
That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today.
え、そのまま飲む
I
の？
always expected to be dead tomorrow.
それはな、だいぶ
If
す
you
ごい。
wait long enough, you get used to anything.
また缶切り。ああ、はいはいはいはいはいはいはいはい。
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal.
桃の缶詰が好きなんかな。もうそのまま飲むと。いやー、なかなかな栄養やな。
Everything just
2005年
stopped. Whatever that thing was,
こいつ桃
it
し
was
か食べてない
gone.
死なんの？
Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
いやー、そのまま飲むと違ってちょっとヨーグルト加えて混ぜるとかさ、もうちょいなんかありやろ。
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting.
待つの終
I
わり。
have to leave while I still can.
おお、降りる場所ある。防空壕的な場
I
所。
know it's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin.
なんかおんのかこの家に。
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Walter died when I
ウォ
was
ルタ
6.
自殺と。
I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
自殺しかおらんのかここは。
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
あ、行くの？重たいこれ。
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding.
あ、下にこの
I
こ
don't want to
の
make
じ
the
いちゃん
same
が
mistakes she
ずっと
made.
このじいちゃんずっと部屋に下に地下におったけど誰も教えてくれなかったって
Trying
こ
to
と。
bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse.
電車の場所もね。
We made it real.
お墓がある。あのピカピカ光るのあれなんなん？
I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of.
What's it onの？ああ、こん中かな。
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
なんかただ単に下に字幕がファーって出てくるだけじゃなくて、なんか背景と字幕が一緒になっとるからすごい読みやすい。なんか目で追ってしまうような感じの作りしてるから。
That history of imagination and stubbornness and madness. Any of it seems possible.
こっちじゃないか。あ、こっちか。
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one.
お墓を。
3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault. Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery. I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
あ、あれ見るんか。何あれ。
Edie said she dreamed about the old house
なんじゃあれ。
every night.
古い家。前住んだ家でかな。
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself.
何人家族だ？まだ結構おったよな。ほんの
But looking back on it now,
自殺リストに。
If she told me there was going to be so much
やばすぎ
climbing,
ここ。
I'd never would have
渡れ
come
るこ
when
れ。
I was 22 weeks pregnant.
いや、折れる折れる折れる。絶対折れる絶対折れるそれ。そんな細いとこ乗る大丈夫な。
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
ちゃう。俺はこれ読みたいの。何この写真自撮り
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Am I gonna?
Perfect.
完璧な。
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it?
いや全然あ
I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's
は
the
いチ
spirit.
ーズ
Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
どこにおんねんどこにおんねんあお前か違
You're
う
right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
どこにおんねんウォーリーを探せじゃないんやから取れたわこれかいちゃうピントが合わない取るもんこいつらしかおらんねえけど何の写真やねんなんでもいいから片っ端から撮っとったらそのうちなんか当てはまるやろ
Definitely should not have drunk
お
all
っ
that
たし
coffee.
Hey!
That's a keeper. Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years.
もうこの人物
Last
やろ
time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa, Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
他にもっと面白い被写体がある嘘つけ
We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere.
鹿
I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map.
何もおらへんぞ
Let's see.
銃かっこいいはいはいしろ
You don't need to waste any more film on me, kiddo. Or was it? Could have been.
ダメ。ピントが全然合わへん。あ、
Good eyes, Don.
お、顔あけ、あ、いいね。
Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of it.
打つ前に写真を撮らせて、お前か。
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Dawn!
やば。
I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that,
え、
okay?
動けれる俺。
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
sick.
normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about.
Dad!
あ。お父さん自殺と。
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
幸せな
Instead
家
of
族を
hiding
映しと
from
ったのに
death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
他行けるも、あ、外出んのかな多分な。この感じ行くと。もう用はないやろ。あ、戻れないってことは部屋の中か。まだなんかあるか。あー、あったあったあったあった。この家マジでけえな。空調設備すごない？
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
ここにおる家族はみんなアホなんやな多分な。あら、赤ちゃん。似た人。何これ。
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it.
あら、俺赤ちゃんになっちゃった。
I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
俺男か女かわからんな。どっちやろ。あ、メスかも。いや、向こう行っちゃった。あれ、めっちゃ動くやん。
Back time's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie.
赤ちゃん一人だけしとくこれ普通。
Sam,
ちょっと。
I told you I don't want to talk right now.
ちょっと待って、これ動かせれるやん。
what his world was like.
おい、あかん、くそ難しい。よし、行け。はい。
Reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination.
めっちゃ踊っとる。
Whatever it was, he saw.
おお、やば。でけえクジラ落とせるかな、あれ。いけるかな。いけ。おお、いった。
Sure made him happy.
だ、やばいやばい。起き上がり。よし。ちょ、狭い狭い狭い。ああ、上になんかあるわ。乗って。
I know how
あ、いい
sick
ね。
it sounds. That I
も
worried
う一
about
個ぐら
a
い、
baby
もう一個ぐらい、
being too happy.
もう一個ぐらいなかったやろ。
I feel him slipping away.
やべ。あ、
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it.
あれ動かせて。お母さん無視しすぎじゃない、俺のこと。ちょっとお母さん最近もう寝とって起きても目の疲れ取れやんかったりするんやから、俺。ね、
I wish he could have told us
寝ても寝ても疲れが取れへんねや、俺最近。
about the world he saw.
でもかろうじて筋肉痛はまだ2日後とかには食えへん。その初日に来るからまだ大丈夫や。やばい、死ぬ。
There's so much I don't understand.
あれ？
About Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault.
線を抜くってか。
I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
はあはあはあ。赤ちゃん自殺と。
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and
こ
yet
っちもおるやん。
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard. Before
お
the day my brother said with teenage disregard that
文字
he'd
取
be
れる
dead
し、これやば
before
ない。
he'd see a wedding in our yard.
読む前から聞いてて何かがわからんくなった。なるほど、こうやって文字を
My father made him come, of
読めない。
course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
読みやすい。ほら
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that I
now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
めっちゃ高いとこ行ける。やばいやばいやばいやばいやばいやばい。結婚式やとんやな、これ。もうタコの動きじゃねえよ。あ、なんかある。
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
やば。 ドラ息子やな。やべやべやべやべ。
The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went.
よし。
But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
おお。
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
なるほどな。だいたい死の想像がついたわ。
The thunder sounded much too
あ
close
あ
and
も
full
う
of
結
angry
婚式
calls.
めちゃくちゃだ。
All my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." 'I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam.
お化けみたいな。あ、
But I didn't. Until we found you.
ガス。ガス。能力解放
She
し
never
たが
talked
暴
about
走して
it,
死亡。
but Mom told me that if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
え、この上行けんの？
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
あ、そっか。この家めっちゃ上
When
ま
my
で行くの
dad
か。
died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
学校みたいな授業の場所もあるのこれ。
But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
ああ、こっからか。おお。こいつか。ミルフォン。1992年。ああ、残念やったな。俺の方が年上やわ。
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
예, 파라파라やば。パラパラ漫画の中でパラパラ漫画やった。何ページあんねんこれ。ミルフォン自殺。パラパラ漫画の書きすぎて自殺。他もなんもないな。
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
裏になったってことやな。
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
裏側は何もない。じゃあ上か行くんやったら。すごいな、ちゃんと行く道が分かるようになったのがいいな。
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Ah, こっからか。なんか迷路みたいなとってこの家おもろいやろな、おったら。めっちゃ住みにくいけど。
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Louis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Louis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
ねこれ。ああ、そういうライン作業か。おい。おい。
But he withdrew part.
なんかもう死ぬ理由が分かった気がするな。
In our sessions, I saw the same behavior.
もう死ぬ理由がなんとなく分かった気がする。
His mind began to. なんも来やんくなった。 Wander.
なんか2つ操作できる。いや、意識2つ。これこっちかな。ああ、こっち行けるわ。
I asked him to describe it.
ちょっと待って。魚を切り、魚を切りながらこれやっていくのめっちゃ難しいんやけど。
Imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
道と口やこれ。
Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
ああ、こっち行けるかな。
And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head.
おお、なるほど。
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
こっちか。
But he found something more. I worried about him then, daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Louis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Louis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him.
いらんこと考えとって。
It seemed very promising at first.
まああれやろな。俺もよくやるよこれ。
He told me he'd made a new friend.
みんなもやるやろ、授業中とか仕事中とかでこうやってゲームのない妄想したり。
On the edge of a city he named Louis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
なんだこれ。勇者なんかな、ゲームの世界で。
And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. day his imagination grew stronger.
ほうほうほう。
He no longer spoke at
人
the
めっちゃおる
camera,
な。
but his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever
空
he
想ではない。
wished.
空想でしかない。今更。
He held an election for mayor. And he won.
マリオか。
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
まだ続くの？魚を切りながらまだ続くのこれ。
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push
でも
on.
いい加減これ魚を切って捨てるっていう作業はもう何にも考えなくてもできるんだわ。
New Lewis.
これが仕事か。何も考えてもできるようになる。
St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality.
ライン作業のシーンだなこれも。
Minneapolis.
何
Until one
ほ
day
ぼほぼ
he
意
forgot
識
to
こ
go
っちの
home
ゲー
from
ム
the
画面に集中しとって魚切る動作はもう何にも考えてやんの。
Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
あ、なんかおるやん。あ、もう誰か話しかけとっても無視なんやな。もうゲームの中に集中しようから。わかるよその気持ちは。
In Lewisburg,
お
he
母
heard
さんにご飯
rumors
呼ばれ
of
ても
a
嫌やもんな普通な。ゲームしとったら。ちょっと待って。ジョーのことにしよう。
handsome queen.
ほうほうほうほう。選択肢できたね。
The
なんて書いてあ
queen
る？
was on her own quest for
蛇を邪悪な蛇。虹を探していると。いや、蛇やな。邪
sinister
悪な蛇。
serpents.
もういいよ。はいはいはい、いいよいいよ、そんなん関係ない関係ない。はい、関係ない関係ない。もう魚切り
Followed
して
the
る。
sound
あ
of
あ。
her
ハープにしようか。
silver harp.
画面外に出てくる邪魔な魚を切る作業になっとる。あ、やべ。
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
もうゲーム画面でしかないやねんかも。
He knew the world was all in his
いや、気
imagination.
づき気づき気づき。待ってよ、
But
ちょ
he
っ
was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
この画面だけ見たらもう何のゲームかわからへん。
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
ようやく女王様と結婚できるわ、やった。大金持ちや無限や、もう一生働かんでいい、やった。魚切る作業も今日
My
でおさらばや。
imagination is as real as my body, he
どこ
told
行った
me.
あいつ。
It was hard to argue with him.
あれ
He began to forget the world we know.
汚い場所だな。絶対
I
臭いや
think
ろ
it
な。
pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
汚 一人しかおらんやん、作業員。残業か？
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
死んでる。
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
帰ってき
The
た。
palace would be packed with his
現実世界
companions.
に帰ってきたぞ。いや、ひどい夢見たわ。ずっと魚切る作業させられとる夢見たわ。変な夢やった
Including
わ。
the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him. His queen waited, holding his crown.
王冠元のやな。やった。
There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
神戸を垂れる。あれちょっと待って、なんか処刑台みたいやな。おかしいな。ありがとう。
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
ああ。
My brother was really cool.
お兄ちゃん
I wish you could have met him.
こじらせすぎて自殺。
He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him, it was a way to be something other than just a Finch. On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed.
これあれかな、暖房とかに詰めるやつかな、プチプチのでス
But
ポ
I
ンジのブツ
understand
ブツの
why
や
we
つ。
left.
なんか文字がムニュンってなる。これ嫌やんな、このブツブツのやつ。捨てんのめんどくさくない？こぼれるし。
My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
お。これ自分の部屋か。
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
こっから入れんの？マジかよ。作りどうなっとんねんこれ。
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things.
やばすぎへんちょっと。あ。後で津波こうへんこれ。
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me.
お、見えてきた見えてきた。
Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by.
ねこれ。おーおーおー。文字か。
My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone.
あ、一緒に行ったお母さんも
The
死んだって
last
ことか。
Finch left alive.
呪われすぎやろこの家。
Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet
ちゃ
you
んと文字
and
が
tell you
パー
all
で
these stories
ゲーム
myself.
上に浮いとんのすごいなこれ。だいたい英語なんやけどな。
But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
いや、立て方改めて見てもやべえな。あ、終わり？これリアル開発者の子供の時の写真かな。この感じ。ディズニーランド行っとんでこの人多分。あ、ミッキーマウスやな多分な、頭の帽子。ちゃうか、ちゃうな。誰やあれ。耳垂れとったな。あんなキャラおったっけ。ゲームボーイかなあれ、やとの。何年前や。何もソースできやんのこれ。犬かわいい。全員音よなこれ。あれこいつだけおらへんやん。あ、ラストがあれか、自分か。生き残りやから。まあ一応これはあれやからな、なんで死んだかっていうのを全部見てくだけの話かな多分。じゃあこの閉じ込められ、この缶で桃食べとった人がなんかようわからないけど、なんで30年間引きこもっとったってことかな。 まあ多分これで終わりなパターンやな、多分な、これな。結末がちょっとどうなったかよくわからんかったけど、まあこれはこれでよかった。なんかゲームの雰囲気とかすごい良かったし、字幕やけどすごく読みやすい。それが一番好印象やな。ただ下にボーで字が出てくるの違うから、こういうのがいいんやんな、字幕やったら。あ、これで終わりなんや。はい、というわけで、ちょうどすぐあっという間に終わってたけど、いい感じやったな。あんま長すぎても下ってくるもんな、こういうのゲームは。はい、それじゃあご視聴ありがとうございました。さらばだ。